Can you believe I had never played Quake until this summer? I was born in May of 1982, which means that this June of 1996 axe-wielding, 9-inch nailing Slaughtermania was released right after my 14th birthday, mere months before high school began for me. Quake is one of those quintessential 90s high school boy games. A year and a half later, in December of 1997, it was ported to the Sega Saturn, the console that generation that I played the most. Yet I did not bother to ask for Quake for Christmas, receiving Command & Conquer instead, forever pledging my loyalty to the Brotherhood of Nod.
Cain lives in death.
Anyway, what's my point? Oh, I'm getting there. My point is that Quake is considered one of those best-of-all-time games. It says so in the Wikipedia entry. It's conventional, time-tested, overplayed, and boasts a planet-sized fan base of Quakers and Shakers, all seeing themselves in the nameless nobody with permanent true grit. It's not exactly obscure, but is it weird? Is it a weird game? Its color palette consists of so many browns and grays, eschewing the bright, lava-infused colors of id Software predecessor Doom, as well as other contenders and pretenders to the throne. It exists in the realm of cosmic horror, popularized by every weird kid's favorite author, H.P. Lovecraft. But is it a weird game? It's all relative, but you would be hard-pressed to find a consensus agreeing in the affirmative on that. Not with so many more easily categorized weird games that have been released in modern gaming history. The explosion of independent gaming starting around 2005 and reaching new heights more recently has given us games that would never be made by, say, Nintendo or Namco Bandai, creators of super normcore games like Captain Rainbow and Katamari Damacy. I play a lot of weird games, which I define amorphously and without concrete rules. Nobody likes rules, they're for squares. Enough lollygagging and 2 to 3 minute introductions. These are all the weird games I've been playing lately. Subscribe to my channel, set the notification bell to all, and support me on Patreon. Link in the description. I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. How many times have I said this to myself over the course of my life? How many wrong turns and embarrassing mistakes have I made that trapped me where I don't want to be? Babbdi is a first-person mini-adventure game about a nameless stranger, the player, who desperately needs to take a train out of Babbdi, seemingly forever. Why the player needs to leave Babbdi is unclear, but maybe the protagonist wants out because Babbdi is subtly terrifying. It's a world like our own, but with its features skewed, the way we can look at a surrealist or cubist interpretation of a person but still see the most recognizable shape in the human mind, the human face. The words are blurred and stretched into a new language, and the people twist their heads to greet you like one of those eyes following you everywhere paintings. The game begins in an apartment building with no doors or privacy. I lived in apartment buildings most of my adult life until very recently. I still live in an apartment, but it's in one of those apartment communities. Babbdi takes me back to where I don't want to be. It haunts me. I love it! I love how bad this game makes me feel and the relief of getting through it and boarding the train to parts unknown. I never cared for the term walking simulator to describe a video game. It's inherently derogatory and therefore uncritically dismissive. Gone Home is not a walking simulator. The player does more than just walk, and the walking itself is not the main attraction. That would be the reading and discovering more about the mystery. QWOP comes close to being a walking simulator, but QWOP expects the avatar to run more than walk. Maybe that's just splitting hairs. Even Death Stranding is not a walking simulator for the same reason. The challenge of walking in Death Stranding is not walking itself, but the sorting of packages and boxes. It's a balance simulator at times, and at other times, separate and unrelated challenges present themselves. What challenges specifically, I am unsure, as I have twice given up playing Death Stranding after my eyeballs turned inside out in silent protest. I don't care that it's uncool to bag on Death Stranding. I've never been cool anyway. Babbdi is better than Death Stranding. Babbdi doesn't overstay its welcome and can be completed in less than an hour. Babbdi has a sense of humor instead of just hiring someone with one. Babbdi is all play all the time. The player is in control of everything happening, whereas Death Stranding is interrupted with in-engine cutscenes every fourth step that Boondock Saint takes. You know that scene in the RoboCop reboot where RoboCop is like, "Where's the rest of me? This is horrifying. This is body horror. I'm barely here." Well, in Death Stranding, RoboCop's face and hand are the game, and RoboCop's everything else are the cutscenes. If you're wondering why I'm spending any time talking about Death Stranding right now, it's because I'm never making a video about that game, and these are my complete thoughts. End of segment. In recent game history, RPGs made through RPG Maker software have been commercial and critical successes. Fear and Hunger, Felvedake, to name a couple. But 10-15 years ago, RPG Maker games were generally free and made by enthusiasts toiling away in a narrow niche. Space Funeral. Released in 2010, I played this for the first time in 2025, and it was well worth the wait. The opening menu screen lists all three options: blood, blood, and blood. The first blood is start, the second blood is load save, and the third blood is exit. I had no idea what any of this meant and chose the third option first, sending me out of the game, confused but fascinated. Space Funeral features music lifted directly from other sources, notably the Final Fantasy menu theme. As Space Funeral was not a commercial product, there was nobody to stop the developer with a cease and desist. Not that that always works. Philip, a crying child in his pajamas, is kicked out of his home by his parents. Throughout his adventure into adulthood, Philip encounters blood wolves, monsters, and other baddies such as criminals smoking cigars that blow smoke that spell crime. Love it. Love it. Space Funeral operates on a combination of child logic and dream logic. In Space Funeral, the conventions of JRPGs are turned upside down and inside out. For example, the player restores their HP and MP not through tents and save points, but through caskets. Philip sees himself in every casket he comes across. The game remarks that he feels better, but not by much. Another example, Philip does not meet a diverse cast of characters to join him on his quest. He meets Leg Horse, a severed and mangled mass of horse parts, and that's it. As Philip and Leg Horse travel the various distorted biomes, they come face to face with errors in the game. Something has corrupted the traditional JRPG and has produced this nightmare world populated by Elvis, the King of Crime, and Dracula. In all sincerity, this may be my favorite version of Dracula in media since Gary Oldman impoofined his hair. If Philip defeats the errors and creates a so-called perfect world, common JRPG characters and backgrounds re-emerge. The developer is commenting on JRPGs circa 2010 and how they had still not broken free of their 1980s and 1990s tropes and traits. Space Funeral struck such a resounding chord with RPG fanatics that fan games of Space Funeral exist. They started popping up in the RPG Maker community. There are over 20 now? Space Funeral 2, made by a different developer, is a love letter to the original game. Not in the way that some modern games are love letters to older games. It's a small 10-minute stroll through familiar surroundings, explicitly thanking the original developer for making the game. Space Funeral 2 is less a game and more of a greeting card and a thank you. Space Funeral Earthbirth is a full-fledged game, complete with the pop culture of the time like Dubstep Forest. In the original Space Funeral, virtually every battle was easily winnable with minimal effort, but in Earthbirth, dying is a real possibility, but not so much that it requires level grinding, only paying attention to HP. The best feature of Earthbirth is Dracula gets to join the party, smoke a giant doobie, and enjoy the ride. The developer of Space Funeral was so impressed with the fan games that he has proclaimed them to be canon. I think that's wonderful. What a weird game series. Let's switch gears and check out some weird video games that I did not enjoy. Fork Jump is the tale of a cyborg parkouring his way through the Fork Realm. Bobblehead fairy tale nightmares guide the cyborg through the secret world of Tutorial. The cyborg is a Mandalorian with a cape, bouncing and flouncing higher and further. No. Fork Jump is the tale of a poorly optimized game with floaty, unreliable controls. I can only inconsistently play it correctly because the game handles like a car with no steering wheel. Before someone leaps out in defense of Fork Jump, a first in human history, no, that is not part of the challenge or part of the game. It's not intuitive, everything just doesn't fit together well. So why even discuss this game? Well, someone had to. Fork Jump has a little over a dozen reviews on Steam, no updates forthcoming. It's the only game that the developer has made, and I feel as if I were in some exclusive club that has played Fork Jump. Fork Jump contains a gun that shoots the cyborg around, but it's so imprecise that the fun is replaced with exhaustion, and the challenge is replaced with tedium. If the primary and really only mode of travel in the game only kinda sorta works and doesn't feel satisfying when used, how am I supposed to squeeze fun blood from this garbage stone? If you tell me it's a skill issue, you're lying, because there is almost no way that you have played Fork Jump and know anything about the skills. You, yes you, are not even sure that Fork Jump exists, and maybe this is a gag that I am perpetrating on you and the rest of my dwindling YouTube audience. But no, it's real. Painfully real. I can see why some players gave it a positive review though. The world of Fork Jump is so goofy and enchanting that its mere singular experience qualities can make up for its poor, unpolished, and unfinished gameplay. Unfortunately, its aesthetics are wrapped up in what I tend to call the depression palette. Fork Jump goes with this faded teal color for everything. It's just a little too gray to be blue. I call it elderly cyan. It makes me sad. Your game colors are making me sad, Fork Jump. Weapon of choice is a metal sluggy and alien shredder that I initially enjoyed before it took a dark turn. But let's back up. Who concocted these graphics? These models? This woman is a soldier in the war against the alien scourge, wearing faded pink pants, holding a gun that looks like a centipede with a spider backpack. The floating enemies explode, a death animation that is one part extremely graphic and another part rainbow cartoon wonderment. I do love the spider claw auto backpack grapple copter nonsense. When the spider legs are not enough, the default spinning somersault hop is twisty and satisfying. I appreciate the branching paths of the game too. It helps with the replay value. I'm a big proponent of video game ammunition blasting out of guns that look cool as hell. It's a firm, unwavering position that I took long ago after seeing the spread gun from Contra for the first time. I love those red bubbles forever. Weapon of choice ammo is this light bright ultra-resolution butterfly blast. Look how gloriously yellow these bullet blasts are. Check out this flamethrower, it's the size of the character. It must be awfully cumbersome for him, but he doesn't care because he loves flamethrowers as much as I do, and sometimes you need to suffer for your love. The characters both move and look like diorama cutouts, but that doesn't bother me too much. Sometimes a face is so wonky and misshapen that it wraps all the way around the aesthetosphere and becomes attractive. It's the Adam Driver principle. This game should rule. This should rule so hard. Here are the problems. A few minutes into this game, and the jank peers from behind a corner. The captions from the general cut off. You're a general from the uni something? It might be the United States. It might be the University of Arizona. Why is this happening? A couple stages in and the game breaks altogether. Look at this. After defeating the sandworm-inspired boss, there is nowhere to go and my character falls off the edge of the world and reaches this green demarcation before starting all over again. The second time I approach the green line, I make sure to push my controller to the left and escape the abyss. Back on land, the game instructs me to go right, but right is where the flat earth begins. And this is not some unfinished demo, this is the game, it's just busted. Not so much that it doesn't work at all, but enough to make playing it a chore. It's like a car that technically still runs, but you wouldn't want to risk taking a road trip inside of it. Okay, I'm getting off the hate train. Here's a weird game that I liked. Back in 2009, I remember listening to the theme song to this game on YouTube over and over. I listened to this song and bobbed my head to its screeching waves of goof-tastic over-sincerity, but I didn't actually play it until earlier this year. I Made a Game with Zombies in It is the original weird Xbox 360 arcade game. For the uninitiated, or far too young to remember this game, I Made a Game with Zombies in It is a top-down twin-stick shooter that lasts 13 minutes and 37 seconds. Leet is Leet speak. God, I'm old. Survive this extended song about how this game was developed in XNA and try to beat your score. That's it, that's the game, and it's perfect. Upgraded weapons mix it up in a chocolate vanilla blender. The rocket launcher is so good, and the lasers are laserfied, and the flamethrower lets me spin around while burning zombies into undeath. This game smashes more TVs than Smash TV, and is hotter than the hottest Miami. As the game progresses into minute 4, it transmogrifies into asteroids, but unlike asteroids, I can actually beat this game. God, I love this song. If someone were to ask me about my favorite song in a video game, well, it would be Terra's theme from Final Fantasy VI, but if someone were to ask me which song is essential to its game and inexorably linked to that game, it would have to be the song and the game I Made a Game with Zombies in It. What rapturous joy, especially towards the end when the music crescendos triumphantly. Truly, he made a game with zombies in it. Oh, incidentally, I beat Quake. My favorite gun is the grenade launcher because there is no flamethrower in Quake. Bye.